Andrea, I would say we can just get started. So fortunately, you don't really need an introduction anymore because I think Luca did that earlier, or Rob. So I would love to really try to dig a little bit deeper into your life, both as a person but also as an entrepreneur. I don't know if you want to separate that from each other, but you're now founder of a decacorn. You've been doing this for almost 12 years. I think you have a user base of more than 35 million users, ranging from the tiniest companies to the largest Fortune 100 companies. But you originally, when you got started, you were in Perm, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if you would agree on calling it in the middle of nowhere. So how was it back then? How did you get started?
Hi everyone again. Great to have this conversation going. I started around 12 years ago in the middle of nowhere, as you say, and I had a digital creative agency before, and I learned from one of my friends that there are scalable, repeatable business models out there. I thought, like, wow, that sounds fun, because I was doing creative stuff, and creative stuff, every time you do it from scratch, and especially if it's creative agency, you have customer, you have 5 voices in the customer, and you need to rework a lot of stuff. And when I learned that there is a repeatable, scalable business model, I thought, wow, that's great. And you can create something once, you can sell it to many people, and you can sell it every month, actually, to the same number of people. And that was just wow, and I thought, great, I need to think what I can do around that. And we started to explore different things, and yeah, somehow we got to where we are today. But what I think brought us to where we are today is several things. First, it's customer obsession. So we did a bunch of pivots or micro pivots along the way around the patterns of what people really use us for, and around the kind of customer segments, around the personas and jobs to be done, whatever you call it. But there are a lot of signals that you get through the usage, and you adjust your story to that. That one thing. The second thing is curiosity and trying to reverse engineer kind of bigger stories. So in 2014, I remember when Slack was just released and Zoom had kind of first steps on the market, I thought that's kind of an interesting approach. So Zoom is a video communication platform. Slack is a messaging platform. Can we build something that will be a visual collaboration platform for all knowledge workers in the company? And I thought that might be a real thing. And we started to build it. And at that time, there were all this diagramming, wireframing, mind mapping tools. And they were all focused on individual usage. And I thought, why not to have one unified platform with all of those things as features, which will be focused on team and cross-team collaboration. And with that kind of vision, we start to execute toward that. And yeah, that's how it evolved.
And back then, that was the company wasn't called Miro; it was Real-Time
Board. Yeah.
And why did you change the name?
I mean, as you say, we started a company in the middle of nowhere. We didn't have any money, and we were not native speakers, and we were not that creative in terms of how to name the company. And when we built the initial version of Real-Time Board, we had to ship it and put on a website, and we just went to GoDaddy and start to search for names that kind of somehow describe what we do. And there were a bunch of better names, but this one was $10. So we bought the $10 domain with the idea that if it works, we will change it one day. And I remember we shipped it in 2012, and I was living under that kind of one-day thing, one-day promise for 7 years. And yeah, in 2018, I hired my first CMO, and during onboarding period, like I don't remember, it was second or third week, when we were kind of checking in how her onboarding goes, I asked her, like, what do you think? What should be our priorities for a company? And she said, I think we need to change the name. I was like, wow, that's kind of a great starting point, because that was my kind of legacy that I wanted to change. And she said, like, I actually wanted to tell you this about my offer being issued, but I thought maybe I should not. Maybe it will not work well. But I said, like, that's exactly what I'd like, and we changed it in 6 months. And I was lucky to kind of come up with a Miro name, and I mean, like, we hired a creative agency, yeah, I think the brand that we have today and the brand that we are planning to scale, I think it's way more powerful than real-time board. I mean, it's aspirational. Like, our mission to empower teams to create the next big thing. And I see every user, like myself, yourself, everyone here, who are not designers, who are not artists, as artists. Because what we build a canvas, and everyone is a little bit of an artist. And we want everyone to realize their potential through interacting with the canvas. Not doing boring stuff like, I don't know, business process design or user story mapping. I want us to realize ourselves, and this is what we give. We give a canvas that you realize, and Miro is famous Spanish artist, like for those who know, and that where we were inspired.
And talking about being an artist, what type of leadership artist are you? What's your style?
Oh, that's a great question. Like, it's hard to say. I mean, it's better to ask the people who work with me, but I'm trying to expand my toolbox as much as possible. I think there are different stages of the company. There are different life cycle stages. There are peace times and war times, and you have to be a bit of an artist, and like it's a bit of mix of art and science, how you operate. And you have different people who work with you, and with some people you need one approach, with other approach. So I'm trying to kind of adjust my style as well as expand my toolbox as much as possible to the realities I'm in. And I think I'm more a command and control guy, historically. But then, like 5 years ago, I met an executive coach who explained me that the toolbox can be broader. And we start to learn other things, and he started to kind of show me my blind spots, show me the ways how I can achieve even more, actually, with some other approaches. And it actually works really magical. I mean, like, yeah.
What would you say are your blind spots?
What were my blind spots?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know what are my current blind spots, of course. That's why they're blind spots. But I know what were a few of them. Before that, I realized one of them was pretty interesting. And like, it might sound funny, but it's actually not if you realize that's a blind spot. So I think that, like, I'm operate with the best intent possible, like to people around myself, to kind of investors, shareholders, partners, whoever. But the problem is that my intent is not kind of clear for a lot of people. And I learned that there is a kind of your intent and your message, then there is a way how people perceive it, and then there is a reality distortion field in the middle. So, and it all breaks somewhere there. So you need to be very clear, not just about what to do, but also why to do, and what's the intent behind that, and what's the outcome. Because I'm not a guy who is doing kind of nice decisions. I'm not a guy who's trying to satisfy everyone. I'm trying to be the guy who is making the right decisions. And it's hard to assess what is right, what is not, but you have some principles, you have some long-term objectives, you have some trade-offs, and I'm trying to pick up what is right, but in the short term, for a lot of people, it may be not obvious, especially if you're not clearly communicate that. So, and that's kind of one of the blind spots I had, and then I realized, even with my very close initial team, I realized that when I had 30 people team in the company, I realized that even those people who work with me for like years, like 5 years, 4 years, they actually don't understand fully my intents and like my approach and so on. And they gave me a lot of this feedback, like, this shit sandwich, but without bands on top and the bottom. And I realized, wow, I thought I built a lot of trust. I thought I built a lot of relations. No one left the company so far. I think I'm doing great, but realistically, people were frustrated with so many things when I was not clear about the intent and why and so on. That's just one example, but I mean, I can go a long way.
I know there are lots of entrepreneurs in the audience. I shouldn't turn this completely into a leadership lesson together with you, but yeah, it is one of my most favorite topics. So at least one more question in this regard. I read somewhere that your dad played a very important role in kind of shaping you as an entrepreneur. Can you explain how you meant that?
Yeah, I mean, my father had a very small printing saloon, like 3-4 people printing saloon, and there are a couple things that I remember that really impacted myself. First, he was not at home all the time, and I was like, what he was doing? He was serving customers. He was really working hard to serve customers, to deliver best quality possible. So he was really obsessed. He was really passionate about customers and the way how he treated them. Like even on the weekend, he was going to this saloon and doing a lot of stuff. That was one thing. And another thing that I remember was when I was at high school and I got some problems because we kind of were a little bit more, we drink a little bit more than we need and got to school back. My father took me out of school and they were considering like what to do with me, like should they keep me in school or should they kick me out? And he said, I don't know where it will land, but next 7 days you have to come to my print saloon and open CorelDRAW, Photoshop and whatever, and kind of really work hard to kind of pay that, whatever, debt of my kind of behavior. And that was kind of, it's a good punishment, I would say. So it's just, and I worked hard. I was, of course, without payment to pay back that debt. So it was pretty fun. I don't know, like there are a lot of things that my father kind of helped me to navigate. But I mean, navigate mentally, because one of the things that even 3 or 4 years ago, I remember we were sitting together and he was saying like, how those your friends, idiots who gave you first money feel now? Did they lost the money? I like, Dad, like we're growing, we're doing a great job, we're opening 5th office in another country. And I was like, no, I still don't believe you're doing something real. Like, I'm like, okay. And like a year or 2 ago, he just, I think you did something good. Like I was like, okay, you know, maybe that thing was also helpful because he continuously challenged me in a way. So I think it's pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's some good, very early leadership lessons for you. Switching to the business for a second. Initially, I already said that Miro, it has such a fascination because it really is one of those rare tools. I said it before, more than 35 million users, that is being used with tiny one-person companies, but also with 99% out of the Fortune 100. How do you do that product-wise?
Yeah, so share all secret sauces or just one? Okay, all of them, okay. So yeah, I think that it's all about who is your user, who is your customer. And it's interesting because you say Fortune 100 customers and then you say one single user. But really what we optimized for historically is a team use. It's in the middle. So the team is a group of people who have a shared goal and who need to collaborate toward that shared goal. And that's what we were optimizing for. Because even if you're a small startup, it's one team. If you're a big enterprise, it's a combination of those teams. It's like hundreds or thousands of those teams. It doesn't matter. What matters is that collaboration that happened within the team. And that's what we optimized for historically. We picked that kind of persona, which is weird because it's not designer. It's not a product manager, it's not an engineer, it's not a marketer, it's not anyone. It's like you pick up a team as a persona and you optimize for the collaboration of the team and the loops that are created within the team. That's one of those. Like, but I can share more about my dad if you want.
I wouldn't mind. But, I mean, maybe this is related to either or, up to you. But what's a lesson that you learned the hard way?
One? I mean, it's every day. Yeah, I mean, self-awareness is a big thing. I mean, understanding how you impact other people around you is huge. I'm in the very beginning of that journey in terms of understanding how I impact people, both good or bad, like energize or piss them off. But I think it's a huge thing, and if you understand the power of that, you can really create big impact, or you can kind of crash things around yourself, like just unintentionally. So that's one. I think in terms of leadership, like we've been through multiple stages of the company development. We've been through the stage where we completely rewrote the product, and it took us a few years. We've been through the stage when it was hard to fundraise our seed money. We've been through the stage of when Excel, Luciana actually, who was speaking today, kind of tried to convince me to take money from Excel, and I was like, you know what, maybe let's wait 6 months or so. And then, of course, I was like, wow, that's a real thing. It's like, I've been through that stage when, you know, and then I've been through the stage of hypergrowth. What's important through all of those stages, and I think I'm now actually in a very interesting new stage of redesigning, redeveloping the company in a way how the world will operate post-pandemic. So, but the point is that, like, on all these different stages, you need people with who you can crash it. And this is kind of your leadership team. This is your peers team. And I think that one of the hardest lessons I learned so far is you need to bring the right people for the right time, help them also to grow, develop themselves as much as possible. But if things are not growing in a way as you need for a company, you need to bring other people. So, and for me, I understand that kind of I'm the ceiling for my company. If I'm not developing, my company would not develop, and the same for my leadership team. So, and I don't want to cap my company growth by myself or my leadership team, and that's a pretty big lesson. Like, make sure that there are right people at the right time, and make sure you're thinking a couple steps ahead on where and who you need, and help your team to develop, or like try to find those who will make a difference.
And how does your life look like these days? You live in Amsterdam?
Yeah.
Why Amsterdam?
Just love it. And we opened office in 2017 there. I moved 2019. We were thinking like to stay in the US or be in Amsterdam. And Amsterdam is way convenient from time zones in terms of where our team's located. And yeah, I decided to stay there, and we love it as a city. It's just such a cool city. Yeah, I mean, Berlin is also great. We have a big team here. Yeah, we have a big team here. Like, we have an amazing office. Like, our core product experience is built out of Berlin, which is great. So, but yeah, I love Amsterdam. And then how my life looks like. I mean, I'm passionate about products. I love to kind of look at products, speak with founders, build product myself, and of course I have another job of CEO, and that's we can skip that part of my life. And yeah, I have a wonderful daughter and wife, and love to travel. Nothing more beyond that.
And how much actual product work and customer work do you do these days?
I try to bring insight, and I'm trying to bring perspective that might be kind of additional to what team is thinking about. So I don't do kind of product craft myself, of course, and then we have a very strong team. But I think I have some angle that I see things from, and I find it kind of additional, like adjacent to what I see teams looking at. And my role is to, in some cases, challenge kind of the solutions in a good way. In other cases, just to give a perspective on how I think, like, multi-step journey, and then allow team to figure out what's the best path, or is it the right problem, or is it the wrong problem. So I'm stronger on the kind of product design and strategy side of the house, and I'm trying to bring that strength to the organization where people appreciate it, and where people think they are better than me, they can fail or do a great job. Like, I will be very happy. But we have some. It's interesting because, you know, a lot of people come to the company and say like, "Oh, we are product managers. We know what to do." I was like, great, like you just 1 month in a company, first time in a productivity space. We did it 10 years, and then like after 3-6 months, people start to realize maybe, and then there is this guy who is the CEO, and his job is whatever is the job of the CEO. And like, I'm a product guy, and I love to build products, to think products. I'm using a lot of products. I'm playing with the products every day, with the new products and so on. And I love to kind of help, and I like to contribute. But yeah, I think this is kind of what describes me. As I'm less of a regular manager.
Yeah, it's great to hear, and I think that's actually also might be one of your keys to success at Miro, that you're not just a CEO, but you as the one who is at the top of the company, you are a product guy. You are probably one of the world's best product persons. So
I'm definitely not the best in the company. I have my angle.
Last question. What's your vision for Miro?
If we talk about my personality, I'm under promise, over deliver type of person. So I think that the vision, once it's ready, you guys will touch it, and we will talk about that. I think that I can give you a broad version of that. It's like we try to build a durable, sustainable company. We try to build a generational company. We try to build a company that transforms how people co-create and collaborate. We're building the biggest out of Europe productivity collaboration company. We're building the company where entrepreneurship energy can thrive. Like we start to do M&As and bring a lot of great people to the company. And we want to build a company where this entrepreneurship energy can thrive. We are building the company that we think will solve the problems that will kind of expand 3-5 years from now. So we're not trying to solve like today's problems. Like, of course, we are catching up on some things that are not fixed. For example, one of the things we're building now is like all the agile ceremonies, agile rituals that happen in all different companies. They are not well structured. There is no software, and we are supporting those workflows now. And you will see more of releases coming out of Miro. We are supporting this functionality for workshopping, the new era of workshopping that is now where all people are in a hybrid setting. But these are the existing problems. Also try to think like a few years ahead and think what are the problems of the future and try to start kind of do small steps toward them. But yeah, again, like I don't like to talk about things. I like to ship them, get to the product market fit, make sure they solve problems, and then we can retrospectively talk about how they appeared.
Yeah, so we'll leave that for next year's Unplugged. Andrei, thank you so much for sharing all those very personal insights on you, on your leadership style, on building a company, and what a company. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.